Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters here on France 24. When the Americans pulled out of Afghanistan and the Taliban seized power, there was little choice for some Afghans but to escape. Our reporters were caught up with a group of refugees here in Europe to see how they're managing. The story took our reporters to Albania. Nadia Bletry joins us now from Athens. Nadia, why this story?
We met these Afghan refugees in Albania, and there are several reasons why they were welcome there. First, because Albania told the United States, just after the fall and the evacuation of Kabul, that they would welcome the refugees in transit for the U.S. Edi Rama, the Albanian prime minister, said that Albanians 30 years ago were just like these Afghan refugees. And Albania is very much a pro-American country, supported by the U.S. So the move to welcome these refugees was also a political gesture towards Washington.
Nadia, restez avec nous. Let's take a look now at the report by Nadia Bletry and Thierry Trelluyer.
60 kilometers from the Albanian capital lies the town of Shëngjin and its long stretch of coastline resorts. Since summer 2021, this seaside town has hosted some unexpected new guests. Afghan refugees like Mursal, who fled their country when the Taliban seized control of Kabul.
I am from Afghanistan and I'm here in a resort place, a touristic place, but of course I'm here as a refugee. And I'm not here for pleasure, for enjoying, rather I'm just here waiting. And in some cases, I or the other Afghans are here without any clear path for future.
In August 2021, American forces, backed by aid organizations, created an air bridge to evacuate Afghans who previously assisted them. Among them were 3,000 people promised a new life in America or Canada, who instead landed in Albania. Their visas, they discovered, didn't exist yet. Each demand for asylum would be examined case by case. A year and a half later, many are still waiting in this picture-perfect town. 1,100 cases are yet to be processed. Left to wait, alone, their lives are on hold. For almost a year now, Mursal has shared these 2 rooms at the Raffaello resort with her parents. To protect her family who remain in Afghanistan, we're not using her name. Her father, a former civil servant, asked not to be filmed.
I got the visa like many months back. The day that they just informed me that, you know what, you can leave now, I was like, okay, I don't want to. And they said, do you want to wait for your family? I said, obviously, because these are my parents. And it's really crazy. It's really absurd. And it has been separating so many families.
Mursal previously worked with international organizations based in Kabul. She easily received her visa for Canada. Her parents did not. At just 29 years old and a devoted daughter, she's faced with an impossible choice. Start her new life in Canada or give it up to stay in Albania with her aging and sick parents.
These medications have destroyed me. There is nothing left of my body.
It feels like being in a jail, in a beautiful jail.
A jail with a sea view, one where freedom is perhaps a mirage. Those hit hardest are refugees evacuated from Afghanistan by American aid organizations. Washington has provided no guarantees they'll receive visas or financial support. In the eyes of the State Department, the organizations who opted to evacuate the Afghans to Albania in 2021 are solely responsible. But not all of them are meeting their obligations, according to hotel manager Bletry.
One organisation taking care of these Afghans hasn't paid our hotel for several months, and as of now they're in debt. Their name is FPG. According to our accounts, they owe us just over $2.8 million.
321 Afghans under FPG's care were forced to leave the hotel in mid-October to be resettled in cheaper apartments. When contacted for comment, FPG did not respond. Amir Hoda Faryad, aged 27, was one of those evicted from the Raffaello Hotel. He was relocated to this small apartment with his wife and son by FPG. FPG, or Federal Practice Group, is a Washington law firm founded by a former US Marine. But for Amir, much like the other Afghans forced to leave the hotel, the situation is dire.
From the day we moved here, every single promise they made has been broken. They give us money for our living costs, but it's barely anything. Imagine $75 per person per month. It's hardly anything at all. For example, my little boy needs a bottle of powdered milk per week. If you multiply the doses by 4, each month that's already almost 80 euros.
Now in Albania for over a year, Amir picks up occasional work in this corner shop, where most of the customers are also from Afghanistan.
I can't return to the Hotel Raffaello, so I'm working here at the grocery, which is helping a lot.
Today, Amir and the families brought to Albania by FPG have come to receive their monthly financial stipend. Yet again, they find the amount isn't enough to survive, even in this tiny Albanian town. Things quickly get heated.
Next time, don't shout at me. I'm not your servant, that's all.
You are not our boss. You are not our boss. Do your job.
Most of the exiled Afghans are fearful of publicly criticizing an organization they remain dependent on, while they continue to wait for their US visas. As we've hidden his identity, one man agreed to speak with us.
Yes, actually, we risked our life, and the reason why we are here is because we supported the United States government's mission in Afghanistan, even the NATO mission. So apparently, let's say if they are treating us like that, all people in the world will understand. If somebody is not taken care by the United States government, how other people in the world will trust him anymore? We are not beggars. If our country was not given to Taliban, we will never have to go out.
For the Afghan residents of the Raffaello Hotel, living conditions are a little more stable. They receive 3 meals a day, and some get a monthly allowance. Musal has also used her language skills to find work, teaching English every afternoon to others who are about to leave.
جمله اول ما موری است. موری چند تاست؟ یکی. موری یکی است. پس ببینین ناشتا میکنیم مری.
Women are the hardest working students in her classes.
I'm actually really happy for the Afghans who have been able to get out of Afghanistan. I know there are millions of girls right now without the ability to go to school. And of course, I'm really happy that some of the girls here are trying their best to get the education they deserve.
None of these women ever imagined they'd be living in Albania, a place totally unknown to most before they arrived. But for these young members of the women's national football team, leaving Afghanistan under Taliban rule was a question of survival. Zora Shazai's goal is to evacuate other players who stayed behind. She sends a video to one of her teammates, now in hiding in Afghanistan.
سلام ما اینجا هستیم پیش بیچ ما اومدیم دخترها تمرین میکنیم جای تو خالی دیگه اگه در بین ما می بودی زیاد خوش میشدیم کل ما یک جای هستیم.
It's incredibly difficult for the girls who stayed behind. The situation is terrible there. Girls can't go to school or do sports. They stay at home with no hope of a future. They even say it themselves. I don't know if I'll still be alive tomorrow.
The broken dreams of those in Afghanistan are matched only by the struggle of exile for the refugees in Albania, wrenched from their families. Zora Shazai is just 17.
We're here far from our families and we miss them a lot. Some people made it here with their families, but not us. For us, it's tough. We're too young to be separated from our families who are still in this increasingly difficult situation. My mother is very sick. I miss her so much. Every time she calls me, before she hangs up, she gets sad and asks me whether one day we can be reunited and have a normal life, like everyone else. She asked me, my daughter, will we see each other again one day?
Amir is anticipating another winter in Albania, with his second child expected in a few weeks' time. Morsal finally received a much-anticipated email. Canada issued her parents a visa, meaning the family is due to fly in a few days. Morsal updates us by phone.
When I saw the email, I felt happy, but also empty. I hope it's not going to be the beginning of another deal. I just hope that. And I hope that we can make and find a place we can call our home. That is my hope.
Like Morsal, the Afghan refugees who remain in Albania are dreaming of a better life and a way out of limbo, far from the chaos of Afghanistan.
Our reporter Nadia Bletry is still with us. Nadia, in your report, there's some anger against NATO forces and the US. Do they feel cheated, let down by the Western allies?
There is a lot of incomprehension and a strong disillusion for many of the refugees we met in Shenzhen, especially for a generation who grew up with NATO and who saw all their hopes shattered when the coalition left Afghanistan. Have a listen to this former translator. He worked for the US Army during 7 years, and this is what he had to say about the situation.
Suddenly, everybody left Afghanistan, and I'm just asking them to please pay more attention for our Afghan people, especially for women and children. They are under a lot of threats, and their life is. They don't live the life. They just suffering from everything. Even my family, my family is also because of me that I have work for United States, and they get threats every day. Still, people can't believe that, that how all the community of, other countries left us behind and left the country like that, you know. It's unbelievable.
Now, Nadia, you filmed this reporter in November. You stayed in contact with the people you met. What's the situation there like today?
Many of the refugees we met in Shengjin, like Mursal and Amir, that you just saw in the report, have managed to reach their final destination, Canada or the United States. Mursal now lives in Toronto, where she is looking for work, and Amir lives in the U.S. and Virginia. But many others have still not managed to get the paperwork needed to leave. And that's the case, for example, of the young musician you can see in the report, Shukriya, who plays the guitar. She didn't get the right travel documentation, and she says there are still 300 to 400 of them in that similar situation at the Raffaello Hotel, and another 300 outside the hotel, but also in the town of Shengjin. What's for sure, and that's also what the U.S. State Department says, is that these visas are not systematic. And for these Afghans who live in Albania, life is still in limbo 2 years after they were evacuated from Afghanistan.
Nadia Bletry, thank you very much indeed. Merci beaucoup, Nadia. You can see Nadia's report again on our website, france24.com. This is Reporters on France 24. Stay with us.